So dating app horror, that's a thing now. Let's review The Dead Thing, now on Shudder. The Dead Thing stars Catherine Hughes, Blue Hunt, and is directed by Erlich Kane.
It feels like you're doing something different. But as you fall asleep, you realize it's just the same day. What is wrong with you? What did you do?
What's up, guys? Welcome to a brand new 2025 review. Shudder's been coming out swinging this year, and they just put out this movie called The Dead Thing. And I tried something that I told myself I was going to start doing, and I watched only half the trailer. You know, maybe not even. As soon as I was like in, then I turned it off. Okay, so I didn't really know too much about the movie, and I think that's the way you guys should go into this too. But having said that, I don't know how much of this review you might want to hear. I don't know, because this is one of those movies that has an early twist that you might not want to hear going in. But I tell you what, stay with me. I will tell you when I think, okay, you should probably leave, just because I don't want you guys to know anything into this movie. But just stay with me right now, okay? Just give me like 2 minutes, all right? And then I'll send you on your way if you don't want to know anymore. Go ahead and queue up The Dead Thing, because I'm going to give it a positive rating on Shudder. Give it a watch, all right? Because I did really, really enjoy how creative this movie was. And this is one of the most unique horror movies I've seen in a long time, all right? So let's dive in. Let's give you a quick plot synopsis. Now, our main character is Alex, played by Blue Hunt. She is young, she's dating, she's using the apps. This movie kind of sets up what type of person, not bad person or anything, just, how she, what her dating lifestyle is like. And let's just go ahead and say she's kind of promiscuous. She goes from guy to guy to guy to guy. They have sex, and then, there's no spark there, and then they just move on, right? So she moves on to the next guy until she meets this guy by the name of Kyle, played by Ben Smith Peterson. One little negative I will give this movie is that, yeah, she falls head over heels for Kyle. I didn't feel like their meeting was that much different than any other meeting that she had with any other guy. He just basically tells her, we don't need to talk anymore, right? Let's get right down to business, which is a funny line from Once Bitten, where one of the characters, he basically tells her, let's just cut the bullshit and get right down to doing what we both know we really want to do.
Are you a guy?
That's pretty much his game in this. And so, of course, they go home. But it is a magical night, right? And to their benefit, I will say there's a such thing as chemistry between couples. Sometimes you have it, sometimes you don't. Sometimes that spark is just there. Oh, and before words even said, you're like, oh yeah, that's definitely the one for me. And I guess that's what happened between Kyle and Alex. But of course, this is on Shudder. It's a horror movie, and things go terribly wrong. It sort of becomes an obsession type thriller for like the middle of the movie. And, he ghosts her pretty quickly. And then so there's a short period where she's kind of like stalking him and trying to find out, hey, what's going on? We had this magical night, and then all of a sudden you don't even return my text. And this is where it gets really, really, really dark. And I will say, again, without spoiling anything, that this is definitely a metaphor on the current dating age and maybe how dangerous sex can actually be. And you can pick your metaphor for this movie and look at Alex and how her addiction to this guy, Kyle, it's almost like a drug. And you could even look at this like an addiction type of movie. And she goes just down a really, really dark path. Now, there are other characters in this movie, and I think they're pretty much surface level. She's got this guy that works with her at the beginning of the movie, and he's, kind of smitten with her. He's a coworker, and they both, as far as I know, they are scanners. They scan documents. She's just so invested in this guy, Kyle. And eventually, another coworker comes into play, played by John Carna. You might remember him from the Scream TV series. He played Noah, one of the best characters in the Scream TV series. He was just really infectious. I didn't quite pick up on him. He definitely has Topher Gracie type vibes. But there's a few scenes between him and Alex that are quite charming. He's just a natural actor, and he does a really great job in this movie. Speaking of Alex, Blue Hunt, Man, this young actress has to carry a lot on her shoulders in this movie. It's heavy material. It's very intimate, sensual type material. So she really has to give herself over to the part because it requires it. And at the end of this movie, I was just quite impressed by this young actress and how much she put herself out there for this role and giving herself over to the character. And, this is just a real actor. She did a fantastic job. So I have to give her major kudos, because it's a lot. It's a lot of responsibility to carry a movie on your shoulders if you're the lead actor. And, she's mesmerizing. The character's mesmerizing, and you feel for her, and she's just so confused at times as to what's going on. And one last thing I will say, leaning into the whole addiction side of this movie, is that she really goes deep, and it gets so bad that it affects everything around her, her job, her friendships, and she kind of loses herself. And so the thing you're wondering is she going to find her way back? And of course, you're wanting her to because you can't help but like the character. Obviously, there's a thing about this movie that I haven't told you yet about Kyle. So this is the point right now where I'm telling you guys, if you don't like spoilers at all, because some of my viewers, they hate spoilers, and I don't like spoilers. So if you don't like spoilers at all, I would say you might want to leave. I haven't watched all the trailer. I would imagine that the trailer probably gives you something that you might not want to know. I hope it doesn't. But that's just the nature of trailers these days. They got to get you interested in the movie. Luckily, I was interested just by the first half of the movie, just because I knew it was a horror movie, because Shudder's not going to put out stuff that's not horror, okay? So this is your warning. You can leave from here on out, all right? And don't worry, I'm not going to spoil like the last act or anything like that, but I do need to tell you what the situation is with Kyle, all right? Because it is established pretty early on in the movie that he's not normal. And there's a reason why she doesn't see him for a little while after their first magical night. And the kicker here is that he is dead. The movie is called The Dead Thing. And it's interesting that in the nature that he died involves the dating apps, because he was on the dating apps. And I think you could even look at this as like being constantly consumed by your phone and social media and all that, and maybe even dating apps. And that played a part in his death. So this sort of reminds me of what they did with Sammy Kerr in Trick or Treat. And I know I'm going way, way back for some of my younger viewers that might not know what I'm talking about. But like Sammy Kerr was dead and he was kind of pulled out through like music. And I guess Kyle's pulled out through like dating. Like he has a genuine connection with Alex, and he's bad for her. And he's just constantly wanting a superficial sexual relationship with her. And for a good portion of the movie, she just really gives herself over to him. So much so that she doesn't even realize how deep she is sinking down. So this movie does get really dark. One thing that's unique about it too is there's like little to no blood in the movie at all. It's more of a psychological horror movie, and the themes that it deals with can be quite terrifying to young people who are single and on the dating circuit. And I like that this is a cautionary tale about dating in this modern age and with the apps. And I've talked to people that use the apps and how it can be so freaking digital and superficial, and nothing feels organic about it anymore. And I can't really attest to that because I have been married for over 30 years. I don't use the dating apps, but I can only imagine, okay? Because back when I dated, you picked up the phone, you dialed 6 numbers, and then you hung up because you were scared to death until you eventually were talking to them. Everything just felt more natural back then. Also, I just love the way this movie was directed. I love the music. The music's very unique, and I think even the levels of the music are a little higher than you would normally see, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I think the music really kind of carries the movie. It's sort of the bed of the movie. And I think most importantly, it just signifies the emotional state of Alex throughout. Her mood is the music, and it's beautifully done. And again, just foot stomping, I just loved how unique this film was. I think horror movies, more than any other genre lately, have really been the most original. I think any other genre, you step outside of horror, comedy is almost non-existent. Everything is IPs and remakes and superhero movies, and it all just feels rinse and repeat. And hell, I even liked the new Captain America movie, but even I have to admit, it's nothing new, right? So that's why I just keep coming over to horror, and I think horror is garnering new fans constantly just because of all the originality. And this year's already coming out swinging, so I really enjoyed this. I'm going to give it a purchase worthy. I think it could have been a little darker, a little bloodier. I don't know if darker is the word because it does get really dark, but they could have went really crazy with this. Like if Cronenberg directed a movie like this, because you would definitely see themes of this type in his movies, it could have went to some really crazy, graphic, gnarly places. But having said that, I still really enjoyed the effort. And I definitely want you guys to check this out. I'm dying to hear what you guys think of this movie in the comments. Also, be sure to come over to Killer Flicks, where we talk horror all day and every day. And on Fridays, we do FIFA Fridays. Follow my Drumdums on my social, support me on Patreon, become a channel member, buy me a coffee. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, and Drumdum out.